Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and especially all you Lando Norris fans still coping from Miami, welcome to the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix preview, where we're about to find out if Oscar Piastri is actually the second coming of F1 Jesus, or if Max Verstappen just let him win out of pity. Let's set the scene. Baby-faced assassin Oscar Piastri, the guy who still looks like he needs permission to stay up past 9 p.m, is leading the championship in his third season. Not just leading, but doing it against his own teammate Lando Norris, who's been in F1 since the invention of the wheel, and Max Verstappen, the guy who treats competition like a personal insult. This is the same Piastri who, last year at Imola, was basically a ghost. Meanwhile, Max and Lando were fighting like two alley cats over the last slice of pizza. So here's the big question. Can Piastri actually survive Imola, a track where Max is basically the final boss when his car doesn't break, Lando's still salty about Miami and wants revenge, and Oscar's 2024 performance was so forgettable, even he probably doesn't remember it? Or, plot twist, will Ferraris show up with their usual "we're back" for 5 laps energy? Maybe Mercedes will finally remember how to build a car that doesn't handle like a shopping cart? Buckle up, folks. This is either going to be Piastri's "I'm the real deal" moment, or the weekend where Max reminds everyone why he's got 4 titles and a resting "I will end you" face. Alright, let's talk about the track that looks like it was designed by someone who hates overtaking. Seriously, this place is so narrow, 2 F1 cars can't even go side by side without one of them ending up in the wall like a drunk guy trying to parallel park. First, the basic 4.99 kilometers of pure Italian chaos, 19 corners, and a layout so tight it makes Monaco look roomy. This track's been hosting F1 since 1980, which means it's older than most of the drivers' fan bases. The Emilia Romagna GP is 63 laps of pure suffering, and here's the kicker: there's only one DRS zone on the main strip. That's it. No second chance, no mercy. If you don't get past your rabble there, you might as well just settle in for a nice Italian espresso and accept your fate. Now let's talk about the corners that will make or break this race. Tamburello, the infamous left handle where Senna, well, let's not go there. Nowadays it's still a beast, but at least they added a chicane so drivers don't literally die. Piratella looks harmless until you realize it's cambered like a skateboard ramp. Que Minerali, the downhill left-right that separates the men from the boys, or the cars from their front wings. Bottom line, Imola is a proper old-school track. No gimmicks, no easy passes, just pure, unfiltered pain, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Alright, grab your tinfoil hats because we're about to dive into the wildest possibilities for this weekend. Starting with the Kimi Antonelli conspiracy theory you didn't know you needed. Yes, that Kimi, the 18-year-old Italian wonder kid who's basically been handed the keys to Mercedes' future while still waiting for his high school diploma. And guess what? This is his home race. Now here's where it gets spicy. There's an actual F1 curse, or blessing, depending on how you look at it, that says every time a new pope is announced, a driver named Kimi wins the next race. Now with rumors swirling, could Kimi Antonelli pull off the most ridiculous debut win? Probably not. But hey, this is where logic goes to die and miracles happen just to mess with us. But wait, there's more. The real surprise might not be Kimi. It's Max Verstappen and Red Bull's mystery upgrades. They've been hyping these changes like it's the second coming of the RB19. But let's be real, Red Bull's upgrades have been as reliable as Ferrari's strategy lately. If they don't, oh boy, the chaos that follows might be even better. Alright, grab your popcorn and prepare for the glorious train wrecks waiting to happen in Imola, because while we're all busy simping over Piastri's championship lead, let's remember this is F1, where today's hero becomes tomorrow's. We need to talk about your performance, and the prime candidate for a reality check, none other than Oscar, golden boy Piastri himself. I know, how dare I suggest the guy with 3 wins in a row could flop, but Imola isn't Miami, China, or whatever other track let him yeet Max into the shadow realm. This is old school F1. The tarmac's narrower than Ferrari's strategic competence, and Max Verstappen turns into a Terminator. Let's not forget last year, Max and Lando were dueling like it was Mortal Kombat, while Piastri was out there collecting data like a glorified GPS device. Here's the problem. It's a track that rewards dark magic, veteran instinct, and not being stuck behind someone because overtaking requires a miracle. If Piastri qualifies P4 behind Max, Lando, and a random Ferrari that'll inevitably combust, he's stuck there all Sunday, and suddenly that championship lead starts shrinking. But wait, there's more. Let's talk Ferrari, because of course they're lurking in the flop zone. They've been struggling all year, which is Italian for we've built a car that's allergic to podiums. Now they're at home where the pressure is so thick you could cut it with a pizza wheel. The Tifosi will start crying tears of grappa-fueled hope, and then, boom, Ferrari's strategy team will somehow pit him for wets during a solar eclipse. Alright, let's talk about the ultimate flex in Formula 1, pole position at Imola, where one magical lap can make you look like a genius or leave you crying into your team radio like a kid who dropped their ice cream. And this year, the smart money's on Max Verstappen doing what Max Verstappen does best, taking a car that's maybe the third or fourth fastest on paper and yeeting it onto pole like he's got a personal grudge against physics. Let's be real, Red Bull's RB21 has been about as consistent as a weather forecast this season. But Max, he's out there pulling lap times out of thin air like a wizard with a point to prove. Miami was the perfect example. The car wasn't the fastest, the upgrades were questionable, and yet, boo, pole position. Because Max doesn't need the best car, he just needs a steering wheel and a dream. But let's not count out the McLaren boys, because if there's anyone who can spoil Max's party, it's Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. McLaren's been quietly building a rocket ship, and Lando's got that I'm tired of being the nice guy energy after Miami. Piastri, the kid's got nothing to lose and everything to prove. Either of them could pull off a stunner if Max even blinks wrong in qualifying. Alright, time to put on my fortune teller hat and predict which three drivers will be crying tears of joy or crushing disappointment. And let me tell you, this is gonna be spicy. First up, Max Verstappen, because let's be real, even if Red Bull shows up with a toaster on wheels, Max will somehow drag it onto the podium. Now for the controversial pick, George Russell. Why? Because this man has a podium streak more unbreakable than Ferrari's ability to fumble a lead. Mercedes might be slower than a Sunday drive, but George has this supernatural ability to be exactly where the chaos isn't. A late safety car, and now the real wild card, Kimi Antonelli, the kid who's supposed to be learning but might just pull a 2007 Hamilton and shock us all. Imola's his backyard. Mercedes desperate for a miracle. And that, will he actually podium? Probably not, but this is F1, where logic goes to die and I'm here for the chaos. Alright, buckle up because we're about to enter the twilight zone of F1 predictions, where logic takes a backseat and chaos drives the bus. First up, let's talk about Williams. Yes, those Williams who went from, will they even finish the race, to, why are they faster than Ferrari in Miami? James Vowles must be feeding that team some secret sauce, because suddenly, bullying Mercedes like it's 2014 all over again, Imola's high-speed corners should play right into their hands, which means you might see Williams fighting for P5 again, while Ferrari's engineers cry into their espresso. Now let's talk Yuki Tsunoda, the man who's gone from the RB21 is slowly becoming his playground. And if there's one thing Yuki loves more than shouting at his engineer, it's proving people wrong. Imola's a track where precision matters, and if Yuki keeps his cool, big if, he could sneak into Q3 and maybe, just maybe, steal a podium if the big boys trip over each other. And then there's Ferrari. The other Ferrari, the one in the FIA World Endurance Championship, has won all of 3 races so far, with a Ferrari 1-2 last weekend in 6 hours of Spa. Meanwhile, the F1 team is stuck in we swear we'll fix the car by 2026 mode. But here's the crazy part, this is their home race. But hey, hope springs eternal in Maranello, so there you have it. Williams shocking the world, Yuki becoming Red Bull's Dark Knight, and Ferrari, well, existing. If even one of these comes true, Imola will be unforgettable. If none do, well, at least we'll always have the memes.